So if you look at like any travel brochure for Nepal, you're going to see the exact same image.
Right, the engineered perfection.
Exactly. It's always these crystal clear, absolute blue skies pierced by, jagged, pristine, snow-capped peaks.
Untouchable paradise.
Right. But what those glossy, overzealous tour company brochures conveniently leave out is that for a massive chunk of the year, that postcard is, well, it's quite literally underwater.
Yeah.
So for today's episode, we are tearing up that brochure. We're looking at the unspoken, often actively avoided time of year for travel in the Himalayas, the monsoon season.
Which is, it's a crucial conversation to have.
Right.
Because the goal here isn't to scare you away, or tell you to avoid Nepal entirely during these months. The mission is really to manage your expectations, understand the very real on-the-ground safety logistics, and figure out how to find the hidden magic that only the rain brings out.
Yeah, and to navigate all of this, we're pulling our insights directly from David Ways.
Yes, the definitive source.
Totally. He's a renowned Nepal guidebook author, and David Ways' article and guidebooks are going to serve as our map for today's discussion.
It's the best way to do it.
So let's just start with the calendar. Like, when does this actually hit, and what are we physically dealing with when the sky opens up?
So the monsoon rains generally arrive in mid to late June, and they pull heavy moisture across the country through July and August, sometimes lingering well into September.
Okay, so a solid few months.
Yeah, but what requires attention right now is how the fundamental nature of the monsoon is actually shifting.
Oh, like climate change.
Exactly. Historically, travelers and locals expected these massive torrential downpours. They were incredibly intense, but they were short-lived, right? The sky would dump water and then clear up.
Right.
But now, weather patterns are morphing. We're seeing longer periods of steady, lighter rain that just blanket a region for days.
I feel like locals always say, it was never like this before.
Yeah, you hear that a lot.
And while heavy rain has always been a fact of life there, that specific shift from like short bursts to days of steady drizzle, that sounds like it changes the whole environment.
It does. It changes the actual geology of the ground you're standing on.
Wait, really? Geology?
Yeah, think about it. A sudden, violent downpour hits the hard dirt, causes some flash surface runoff, and then just evaporates or drains away. But a steady, lingering rain acts like a slow drip on a giant sponge.
Oh, I see.
The water percolates deep into the soil structure, soaking into the bedrock over weeks. It literally lubricates the fault lines of the earth.
Wow.
And that deep saturation is exactly what destabilizes the soil and triggers massive landslides.
That makes total sense, and it completely changes how you have to prepare. But I guess we also can't talk about Nepal's weather as just one giant sponge, right?
Right. Definitely not.
I've always thought of it as this patchwork quilt of microclimates. But given the extreme elevation changes, it's really more like a giant, jagged staircase.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, like every single step up or down has its own completely isolated weather system.
Exactly. So let's walk up that staircase. If you start in the Kathmandu Valley, you're actually somewhat protected.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it usually remains a bit cooler. You'll experience those quick daily downpours, which, might cause some very localized street flooding, but it clears up fast, the city washes off and just moves on.
But if you step down into the southern or western regions, places like Lumbini, Chitwan, or Pokhara, the whole atmosphere shifts, right?
Oh, totally. You are stepping into a sauna.
Ugh, the humidity.
It's unbelievable. It becomes incredibly hot, highly humid, and you're dealing with very heavy, relentless downpours. The jungle environments just soak up that heat and trap all the moisture.
And then you take the massive step up into the mountains, like anything above 4,000 meters.
Right. And up there, the only reliable forecast is complete unpredictability.
Just the total guessing game.
Pretty much. You could wake up in your tea house to absolute crystal clear morning skies, seeing every peak for miles.
The brochure picture.
Exactly. But then by the afternoon or the night, a massive burst of rain hits. Or a front of thick clouds just rolls into the valley and completely obscures the mountains for 4 straight days.
So if the weather is this violently unpredictable across such a small geographical area, how do you even begin to plan a physical route from point A to point B without getting completely stranded?
Well, you hit the biggest barrier of the entire season, which is the infrastructure.
Right.
The sky is just the catalyst, right? The fragile roads beneath it are the reality. And this is where David Ways issues a very serious warning about those overzealous tour companies.
Oh, the ones selling the dream.
Yeah. They'll sell you a premium package, promising that, everything is possible in the off-season. They'll tell you the roads are fine and the routes are clear.
I may guess.
They're not.
They are absolutely not.
They're selling the dry season itinerary in the wet season reality.
That's exactly it. You're dealing with constant, unannounced road closures. A section of the highway might simply wash away down the side of a gorge.
My God. And suddenly, you're stuck on a bus for 19 hours waiting for a bulldozer to clear the mud.
19 hours on a bus. Let that sink in for a second.
Brutal.
You could fly across the Pacific Ocean in that time. But instead, you're sitting in this humid metal tube, surrounded by rain, staring at a wall of wet dirt.
Which leads to an absolute non-negotiable safety rule if you're traveling during the monsoon.
Okay, what is it?
No local overnight buses, absolutely none.
Is that because the temperature drops at night? And maybe that causes the moisture to condense and hit harder?
That's part of it. The monsoon rains frequently peak in intensity during the night, and the heavy night rains are what trigger those deeply saturated hillsides to just give way.
Oh, so the landslides happen at night.
Overwhelmingly in the dark, yes. And we have to be brutally honest here. There have been recent crashes and fatalities involving night buses.
That is terrifying.
A driver navigating a winding mountain road in the pitch black through heavy rain has zero visibility. They won't see a mudslide covering a hairpin turn until the bus is already in it. It adds a genuine critical element of danger to the journey.
So you stick to the daytime tourist buses, even though, let's be real, a tourist bus heading to Pokhara or Chitwan during the day might still get delayed for 8 hours because of a landslide that happened the night before.
Sure, but you're waiting it out in the daylight.
Right.
You're safe. You're mitigating the immediate risk to your life.
Honestly, if the roads are literally washing away beneath these buses, my immediate instinct is to just bypass the ground entirely and fly. But I'm guessing a monsoon doesn't make for great aviation weather either.
Not at all. Flights get canceled constantly.
I figured.
Domestic flights in Nepal often rely heavily on visual flight rules.
Meaning they have to see where they're going.
Exactly. The pilots need to physically see the terrain to navigate the mountain passes. When you have unpredictable mountain clouds filling the valleys, visibility drops to zero, and the planes stay on the tarmac.
So what's the strategy? You just cross your fingers and hope the clouds part?
The golden rule of monsoon aviation is to always aim for the first flight of the day.
Yeah, okay.
Early morning usually offers the clearest window before the heat of the day causes the moisture to rise and form dense cloud cover.
Makes sense.
And if that early morning flight gets canceled, the cascading delays mean there's a very strong chance nothing is taking off until the afternoon, or maybe even the following morning.
And I assume you can't just expect to call ahead to your destination and get a clear picture of the weather, right?
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah, David Ways points out that if you're sitting in a cafe in Tamil in Kathmandu and you try calling a hotel in Pokhara to ask if it's raining over there, you are rarely going to get a straight answer.
No, because they want your business.
Right. So the weather is always, quote unquote, fine?
Always fine.
Communication and planning are just inherently frustrating during this time.
Which is why your preparation has to be flawless. And that extends directly to where you sleep. A lot of travelers love the idea of backpacking on a shoestring budget, finding a cheap little hillside hut.
Yeah, the rustic experience.
Right, but the monsoon season is absolutely not the time to cut corners to save $5.
Because of the soil saturation we talked about earlier.
Precisely. A lot of that budget makeshift accommodation on the outskirts of towns lacks proper structural foundations.
Yikes.
When you have that changing nature of the rain, that steady, lingering soaking of the earth, those specific hillsides become incredibly prone to giving way. You need to stay in solid, registered, concrete, or deeply anchored accommodation in safe towns.
That's super important. And let's talk about the gear in your actual suitcase, too.
Yes.
You're going to want high-quality, breathable rain gear. Your footwear needs to be either fully waterproof or quick dry because nothing is worse than putting on damp shoes for a 19-hour bus ride.
Oh, it's the worst.
And please invest in waterproof dry bags or hard cases for your electronics. You do not want your laptop or your camera drowning inside your backpack because you got caught in a sudden downpour.
Seriously. But, all of these logistical hurdles, the terrifying road conditions, the canceled flights, the deep mud, it really forces you to ask why people brave the journey anyway.
Right, because they want to hit the trails.
Exactly.
Trekking is the heartbeat of Nepal travel. But again, we're looking at a diagnostically dangerous situation here. Wait, if the hillsides are collapsing and the weather is this volatile, Why doesn't the government just shut the mountain trails down until the dry season?
Because the regions rely heavily on the autonomy of their local economies. There's no overarching central authority that just flips a switch and shuts the mountains down.
Let's see.
The trails remain open, and local tea houses depend on whatever trickle of off-season income they can get.
So it's an economic lifeline.
It is, but that freedom comes with severe consequences.
Yeah.
Every single year, the monsoon season claims lives.
That's so sad.
It is. Trekkers and travelers get caught in flash floods, or a trail just disappears beneath their feet in a landslide. This isn't theoretical. It's well documented on sites like missingtrekker.com.
Wow. So what is the protocol? How do you actually hike without becoming a statistic?
David Weiss strictly mandates one specific rule. You must hire a local guide.
No exceptions.
No, this is not the time to prove how independent you are. You cannot rely on a GPS track you downloaded on your phone.
Because the trail might literally not be there anymore.
Exactly. A local guide knows the hyper-specific weather patterns of that valley. They know where the safe, high-ground shelters are. Crucially, they know the soil well enough to know which specific routes become death traps after a heavy rainfall.
That is invaluable.
It really is. And alongside a guide, you must buy proper travel insurance that explicitly covers the altitude you'll be trekking to.
Okay, so you have your local guide, you have your altitude insurance, your dry bags are packed. Where do you actually go? Because earlier we talked about the country being a giant staircase of microclimates. It turns out there's one step on that staircase that is basically perfect during the monsoon.
Oh, the Upper Mustang Trek.
Yeah.
It is, without a doubt, the absolute best choice you can make during the season.
But how does that even work? If the rest of the country is drowning, why is this one specific area fine?
It comes down to the mechanics of a rain shadow.
Okay, explain that.
So the monsoon weather system pushes massive amounts of moisture up from the Bay of Bengal, moving north across Nepal. But then it hits the Himalayas, literally the tallest physical barrier on the planet.
Right.
The clouds are forced drastically upwards into freezing air, and they dump nearly all of their rain on the southern slopes.
So they just empty out.
Exactly. By the time that air mass crosses over the peaks to the northern side where Upper Mustang sits, it has been completely wrung dry.
That is fascinating. It's essentially an arid, high-altitude desert landscape hiding behind the biggest wall in the world.
Pretty much.
So it gets drastically less rain.
Uh-huh.
The small amount of rain that does spill over the peaks, it triggers these spectacular floral blooms across the valley. You get these vibrant wildflowers popping up against dramatic, russet-colored desert mountains with actual blue skies above you.
The visual contrast is stunning. It transforms a harsh desert into an oasis. Now, it is important to note the logistics, though.
The cost.
Yeah, the Upper Mustang permit is expensive. It costs $50 per day.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it's strictly required for all trekkers. But for the safety, the clear skies, and the unique landscape, I mean, it's unparalleled.
$50 a day is steep, but it really is the one place on Earth where the worst time to visit everywhere else is actually the best time to visit there.
Exactly.
What about other options in that northern region?
Another fantastic option that benefits from a drier microclimate is the Narfu Trek.
Okay, Arfu.
It's a 9-day trek on the northern side of the Annapurna Circuit. It offers a similar rugged Tibetan plateau feel without the extreme rainfall of the lower valleys.
Nice. But what if I don't have the time or the $50 a day budget for those specific drier zones? What's manageable and what should I avoid entirely?
On the manageable side, you can look at shorter options around the southern Annapurna region. Places like Dampus and Australian Camp are highly accessible.
Okay, good to know.
You can even tackle the Marty Himmel Trek, provided you have top-tier rain gear and your expectations are set correctly. Even the full Annapurna circuit is manageable, though, you will get wet.
And the absolute worst ideas.
Avoid Annapurna Base Camp entirely. The terrain on that specific route becomes extremely slippery, and the steep gorge sections are incredibly dangerous in heavy rain.
Got it. Now, I have to ask about the big one, the elephant in the room.
I know what you're going to say.
Everest Base Camp, EBC. Everyone wants to say they did it. Can you do it in July?
You can physically do it. The trail is there. But you have to ask yourself why you're doing it.
Right.
Because during the monsoon, you should expect persistent, thick, gray cloud cover. Those iconic sweeping mountain views you're hiking all that way and burning all those calories to see, they simply won't be there. You are hiking in a cloud.
That sounds so disappointing.
Right.
Plus, the trails turn into deep, thick mud. And we haven't even mentioned the wildlife. If you're doing Everest Base Camp during the monsoon, You're going to be dealing with leeches at the lower altitudes.
Oh, the leeches. It's a visceral deterrent for a lot of people.
I mean, rightfully so.
The heavy rain means the brush never dries out. So the leeches don't just sit in the puddles, they climb up the low altitude vegetation and wait.
Wait, they climb.
Yes. They possess thermosensory organs, so they can actually feel the body heat and the vibrations of your footsteps as you walk past. They stretch out and drop right onto you from the leaves.
Ugh, no thank you. Nothing screams relaxing vacation. Quite like tiny bloodsuckers falling from the trees while you trudge through ankle-deep mud in a cloud.
It's definitely not for everyone.
Definitely not for me. So if dodging leeches and paying high permit fees isn't for you, there's an entirely different side of Nepal that thrives right now. We should talk about what happens below the tree line.
Yeah, the monsoon breathes an incredible burst of life into the lower altitudes and the cultural sites. If we look beyond the mountains, the valley cities transform.
Like where?
Let's start with the heritage sites in the Kathmandu Valley. Places like Kathmandu Durbar Square, Bhaktapur, and Patan. They're entirely open and highly accessible.
And they take on a totally different personality, right?
Yeah.
During the dry season, everything is coated in this thick layer of pale dust.
Exactly.
But the rain washes weeks of that dirt off the ancient stone, the red brick, and the intricate metalwork of the temples. The true colors deepen. The damp earth smells incredible. Plus, the massive tourist crowds are gone. It feels moody and ancient, incredibly atmospheric, especially if you're into photography.
And that explosion of life extends directly to the wildlife as well. Heading down to the national parks in the south, like Chitwan or Bardia, offers a fascinating dynamic.
Very hot, though, right? You mentioned the jungle sauna earlier.
Extremely hot and intensely humid. And the environmental mechanics actually change animal behavior.
How so?
Because of the sweltering heat and the abundance of water everywhere, the tigers tend to retreat very deep into the dense, cooler parts of the jungle, so spotting them on a safari is highly unlikely.
That makes sense.
However, rhinos and wild elephants love the water, and they are highly visible in places like Chitwan. You can base yourself in a town like Saraha and have incredible wildlife encounters.
Just a friendly, urgent reminder from us to you.
Yeah.
Pack heavy-duty mosquito repellent.
Yes, absolutely.
The jungle bugs multiply exponentially during the rainy season with all that standing water. Don't underestimate them.
Great advice.
Now, what about getting active down there? I always see mountain biking suggested for Nepal.
So David Ways explicitly advises skipping mountain biking around the Kathmandu Valley during the monsoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When you combine the heavy, slick rain with the intense city pollution and the chaotic, unpredictable traffic, it just makes for a miserable, dangerous experience.
Breathing in thick exhaust fumes while your tires slip on wet pavement beside a massive bus doesn't exactly sound like a good time.
Exactly. If you want a mountain bike, take your gear to Pokhara or Chitwan instead, where the environment, the air quality, and the trails are much better suited for it.
Okay, good tip. Speaking of mud, though, there's one muddy experience that you absolutely should seek out. The monsoon coincides with Nepal's rice planting festival, which is called Ropain.
Oh, this is a profound cultural touchstone for the entire country.
It is incredible. It's not just the spectator sport where you stand on the sidelines taking photos. Tourists are actively invited to roll up their pants, wade knee-deep into the flooded, squishy paddies, and join the local farmers in physically planting the rice shoots.
It's so immersive.
Right. There's traditional music, there's local food, everyone is covered in mud. It's a wildly memorable, community-driven experience that connects you to the agricultural cycle of the country. You literally cannot get this experience at any other time of year.
And, on the flip side of that very loud physical communal activity, the monsoon is also the perfect time for indoor reflection. The spiritual side of Nepal is deeply resonant during the rains.
Sitting inside while the rain hammers the roof sounds incredibly peaceful.
It really is. Spirituality, meditation, and Buddhist teachings are entirely accessible regardless of the weather. Visiting the ancient monasteries or heading to Lumbini, the historical birthplace of Buddha, is entirely practical.
That sounds lovely.
And the meditation centers and yoga retreats across the valleys remain fully open. There's something deeply grounding about engaging in those quiet, introspective practices while the monsoon storms rage outside.
So if we pull all of these threads together, from the 19-hour bus rides and the falling leeches to the blooming deserts of Upper Mustang and the quiet monasteries in the rain, what is the main takeaway?
The core reality is this: Nepal does not close during the monsoon. You do not have to cross it off your calendar. But the currency you need to travel there during these months isn't just the money in your wallet.
What is it?
Your real currency is patience, it is meticulous preparation, and it is absolute flexibility.
Right. You cannot force a rigid itinerary against a collapsed mountain road. You just have to roll with the reality of the landscape.
Yeah.
And to help you roll with it, you need the absolute best resources. I highly, highly encourage you to check out David Way's Nepal travel website, The Longest Way Home.
The depth of practical, unsugar-coated, on-the-ground information he provides is exactly what you need to navigate these months safely.
Absolutely. David's guidebooks are widely considered the most updated guidebooks in the world today. He is constantly on the ground, revising them based on real shifting conditions.
It's really impressive.
You definitely want to pick up his Trekking in Nepal guidebook, which features detailed routes, including that incredible Nar food trek we discussed today. We're going to drop all the links you need right down in the show notes, so go check those out. And while you're down there, please hit that like button and subscribe to today's episode so you never miss an exploration like this.
It makes a huge difference in helping us bring this information to you.
All right, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. We spend so much time and so much money trying to engineer the quote-unquote perfect vacation.
We really do.
We demand endless sunshine. We demand flawless itineraries. We want everything to look exactly like that fake glossy brochure. But maybe, just maybe, stepping into the unpredictability of a monsoon season is exactly what we need. When a washed-out road forces you to sit still and talk to the locals for an entire day, or a sudden afternoon downpour pushes you to take shelter inside a moody, centuries-old temple you would have otherwise walked right past. Maybe that friction is the exact kind of travel we actually need to feel alive. So ask yourself, are we traveling just to conquer a destination, or are we traveling to let the destination change our plans? Until next time, stay curious.